What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Marketing with In-Depth Podcast, where I'm your host, Nathan Webster, and I'm excited to chop it up with you today. Today's episode, I'm not going to say the episode number no more. I've been jacking it up for the last few episodes. I'm just going to say I'm with my man, Keith Sconiers, and how authentic, purpose-driven I'm going to pause that. How purpose-driven. Okay. How purpose-driven marketing strategy works with Keith Sconiers. Keith, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, good to see you. How you doing?
Man, I'm loving it, bro. I'm glad that you're here on the show. I'm glad that as you're rocking, if y'all are not watching this on YouTube or on LinkedIn or on IG, Keith got the purpose swag merch out. Y'all missing out. But Keith, man, tell the listeners who you are and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm an entrepreneur, storyteller, and catalyst. My name is Keith Sconiers. And as an entrepreneur, I run a couple businesses that are dedicated to helping entrepreneurs cut costs and increase revenue. One of them is PaySuite, which is a payment consulting company. And then the other one is Catalyst Training and Development, which is a coaching and consulting company that, essentially helps entrepreneurs figure out who they are, what they want, how to get it, cutting costs, increasing revenue. So that's what I do as an entrepreneur. I also run a podcast called Purpose, where we interview people who have and continue to overcome adversity to live their purpose. And we had you on, so I'm excited to get that episode out soon. And that's my storytelling side, right? Like being able to connect with entrepreneurs who have a wonderful story, who have overcome significant, points of adversity in their life and are doing something about it, right? To help other people as well. And a catalyst for me is what I had when I was a young kid that was lost, that was, an at-risk kid who was, expelled 6 times before he got to high school, had a 1.3 GPA his freshman year in high school and was kicked off campus. And had a basketball coach approach me and say, "Hey kid, you be Division I athlete." And I didn't know what that was, but I started playing ball and he put me on the team essentially. And 4 years later, I got a scholarship to play at Portland State, which brought me to the Northwest. But when I say that I'm a catalyst, that's what my basketball coach was for me, is the kind of person who steps into somebody's life, believes in them more than they believe in themselves, and opens doors to help them get where they really could go or where they really want to go with their life. And so my mission is to be that for other people. Some people are coaches, some people are consultants. I kind of carry both of those hats at times, but my purpose and my mission for my life is really to be a catalyst. And that's just to help other people get where they're trying to go faster, right? Like my coach did for me. And so that's who I am.
I love that, bro. Oh my gosh. So y'all are in for a treat, as you can already tell. So for you first-time listeners joining the show, thank you for tuning into the show for the very first time. I hope you like it. If you do, please hit subscribe, follow, share. And if you really, really like it, please hit rate and review on Apple Podcasts. Look, we are on all different platforms because my worldwide listeners already know. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode. But I'm only here because y'all said that you wanted more. And I get that from rates in the reviews. And we are in 2024. And right now, I'm only sitting at 21 ratings. So with that said, if you want one of these cool BU swag shirts, this is actually the BU Dream Big and Don't Settle. That's a whole nother, that's coming up later out in the year. But if you want a BU shirt, you send the review. Submit the review, send me a screenshot at info@nwebsterllc.com. Hey, I'll get you one of these swag shirts. Just make sure you send the screenshot, submit it to Apple. Don't send the screenshot and don't submit because I got to verify it. Anyways, you know the drill. You know what's up. And with that, let's get into the show, my man, because this is something I see people struggle with. And
Before you go there though, could I create like a burner account so I can get like multiple shirts?
Yeah.
I mean, let's just keep it 100. It's like, how many names can I come up with? How many reviews we need?
Yo, actually, I don't. That's funny, bro. You brought up something that I don't know how long if you go to Starbucks. I've been a Starbucks Gold Card member for like, oh my gosh, since they like invented it. And I used to wonder, why did they change it? Well, someone created a burner account for every day of the year because that's when Starbucks give you a free drink for your birthday on the and so
Oh,
this person had 365 emails, and they all
wow.
and so they got free Starbucks. So
Yeah.
yeah, you know
If
what?
thirsty was a person, I guess that is
Hey, that person was
quite literally.
right. They were purposefully thirsty.
The coming out soon as the purpose driven thirst.
That's what you call determined. Oh, there's
Right.
a
Oh,
right. Oh my gosh. Okay, man. You are hilarious. Yes. Yeah. Yo, so
yeah.
man, when we met, man, you were a shaker and mover. I didn't know you that well. Met you through a third party, and I always saw you around. And Keith would, for those that don't know Keith or don't follow Keith on LinkedIn, you need to. And Keith drops these value bombs, short little quick to the point with the image, and he just keeps it real about really his failures. Now, sometimes they're long, but you will get a blessing out of that. And so, if you're not following him on LinkedIn, which he will give his handle, please do. We will also put that in the show notes. But he also got baptized, and I want to say congratulations, my brother, on that. I know that was a
Thanks, brother.
big deal. But to that point,
Hmm.
that's where I wanted to be a diving board. When I met you for the first time last year on LinkedIn, I kept seeing you. I'm like, man, I want to know your story. So you gave a little bit,
Hmm.
but let that be the springboard of how did you really, really get into where you're at now for the folks that don't know, or remind the folks that do know, reintroduce them to who you are for 2024.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, again, entrepreneur, storyteller, and catalyst. But where did that start from? Started in Fresno, California. Mom and dad, both entrepreneurial folks. My mom, worked in a restaurant business. My dad, he was building houses from a very young age. My mom ended up getting into real estate. So one built houses, one sold houses. And people would have
Oh.
thought that I was destined to be successful, right? Like
Mm.
my family owned several $1 million worth of real estate before I was born.
Oh,
They
wow.
own apartment buildings and, things like that. And very successful family who had lost their father at a really young age. I believe my dad was 14 when my grandpa passed away. But the backstory with that was that just to allow our listeners to hear this is that my grandfather was a veteran who had come home, had 9 children with my grandmother, and was discharged because disabled, right? Like he had bad
Mm.
sciatic nerve damage in his back, and
Oh.
he was a carpenter and a pastor and
Oh.
ordained minister actually, and he got a contract to tear down some homes that were being taken as a part of an eminent domain project, right? And so he tore
Oh.
down all these homes, and part of that agreement, he took that wood and repurposed it, and he built a 6 bedroom home on a half an acre for my grandmother. The house has never had a mortgage on it,
Oh.
and so like that's been my inspiration up until this point in my life. But to dive back into the story, that's the backstory that I step into with my family
Wow.
losing real estate eventually, my dad getting involved in drugs, selling them and then using them, my mother and him splitting, her being a single mom, my dad ended up in prison, and then along the way my mother getting married to a wonderful man who played one season in the NFL, was a great man, but had abusive, old school disciplinary
Man.
style, right? That many of us grew through, especially in the African American community. Um, but like in the 5th grade, Child Protective Services stepped in and took custody from my mom and my stepdad, gave it to my biological dad, who was still battling addiction, incarceration, and mental health issues. And
Oh no.
during that period of time was where I got, expelled 6 times because of some of the behavioral stuff. But to kind of catch people up into the
Hmm.
journey, right? Like I started playing basketball, ended up getting a scholarship, came to Portland State to play ball, worked hard, did not have the career that I wanted to have. So I left bitter and committed to figure out a way to be successful. And I was extremely successful right out of the gate. When I say that, what I mean by that is this: I successfully completed the worst career launch in world history.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
I got evicted my first year within my first year out of college. I was in my godparents' attic within 6 months of being done with college, trying to get
Mm.
payday loans, and I could not get them because I did not have a job. Right?
Mm.
Lost, confused, trying to figure out who I was. 17 jobs from 2006 to 2016.
You hold on. Say that. Oh my God.
And
Say that
here,
again.
17 jobs from 2006 to 2016.
Wow.
And what's unique about my story, Nathan, is that if you look behind me, you see all these books behind me. What's
Mm-hmm.
unique about my story, I think I was used to seeing people fail in life because they wasn't even trying. I had never seen someone who had worked as hard as I had worked. I'd been to every networking event. I had bought every book that I could, and I
Mm-hmm.
was failing, right? Like I was doing, and
Mm.
it seemed like the harder I worked, the worse my life got. And
Wow.
one night on that journey, while I was sleeping on the floor of a furnitureless apartment, I made a promise that if God would ever help me get off that floor,
Mm.
that I would help other people too. I would help
Mm.
other people do the same. I would help them get off of the floor of their furnitureless apartment, metaphorically, right?
I've slept on the
And for
floor.
some
I've
people,
slept on the floor, man.
yeah.
It's that's ooh, I slept on the floor, and I'm not talking about in the Marine Corps. I slept on the floor.
Hmm.
Gratefully, it was just because I was staying the night and I chose ooh, that's not a fun experience, but that was just a
Mm-hmm.
1 day thing.
Mm.
That must be a very humiliating lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. I had a friend come over one day. He was like, "Man, why don't you have a bed?" Because I spent the bed on the $500 card that was worth 99 cents. Right? Like it's almost. I mean, it's and yeah, it is. It is. And it's extremely embarrassing, especially when you're trying really hard, especially when you're not playing basketball, which is what you love to do, especially when you're not going and spending time with your friends, which is what you love to do, especially when you've thrown away all your DVDs, all the
Mm.
movies that you used to watch in your college dorm, and you've thrown those away because you're really trying to figure out how to be successful in life, and you're saying no to all the things that you've been told you need to say no to, right,
Mm-hmm.
for you to be
Mm-hmm.
successful. It's really embarrassing. And at that point, I think a lot of people start to, if they've been through that, they start to believe that they're broken, or they start to
Mm.
believe that something's wrong with them, or they start to
Mm-hmm.
believe that they're cursed. And that's where I was for a really long time. And how I got into what I'm doing today is one year, and this was actually 2013, I decided that I wanted to get into the insurance business. And I want to get in the business because of what that could represent, right? The ability to build wealth and, renewal type income, and the ability to have flexibility and control your schedule and like all those things. And I went to work for a firm, and at the time it just wasn't really a good alignment in terms of I
Mm.
didn't really quite understand what they were doing. I didn't necessarily like how they communicated or how I was instructed to communicate the value proposition, right? So I struggled.
Mm-hmm.
And Nathan, I essentially paid to be an insurance agent in 2013. I worked for 12 months and I made on paper $7,000. But we all know that there are bills that have to be paid during that period of time, right?
Oh yeah,
So I had other
absolutely.
part-time jobs and things like that, child support and different things, right? Um, I essentially made no money. I paid to be an insurance agent, for a year, right?
Mm.
And when I was transitioning, which I think was unique about that is that I was coming back for more because I really enjoyed the actual work and what we were trying to accomplish for people. I was getting ready to go to another firm, and somebody said, "Hey, kid," or not kid, hey, hey man, you can come work at this company that I went to work at. I had a buddy who also struggled working at that firm. I went to work for a credit card processing company named Heartland Payment Systems, the fifth largest payment processor in the country.
Yeah, I
Went to
know
work
them.
for them, worked there 2.5 years, loved it and hated it. Loved
Mm.
helping business owners, hated being micromanaged. One
Mm.
afternoon, one afternoon after they got acquired, um, I sat across the table from a business owner who they had acquired his point of sale system, and they sent me in to go take over the credit card processing. And the company used to represent these values of entrepreneurs respectfully serving entrepreneurs. And this was what attracted me to work for the company, even though I had zero interest in credit card processing whatsoever. Zero interest.
Okay.
But the values was what I was really attracted to.
Mm.
When I got there to the restaurant owner's business and he started sharing his story with me, he was upset. He unloaded on me, Nathan. He said, man, this company, what's up with this company you work for, man? Like they don't help me. They don't um, train me. They don't. He's speaking to me in broken English. It's a Thai restaurant on Southeast Hawthorne, like 52nd and Hawthorne. He's like, they don't help
Mm.
me. I call, they just bill me. They just send me invoices. I said, I'm gonna go to bat for you because this isn't the first thing I've been hearing about this point of sale company that they acquired. I'm gonna go
Mm.
to bat for you because this is an issue. I go to bat. They sent all my email. I mean, that afternoon, I sent them this email, said, we got to fix this. This guy's unhappy. This is not what we stand for.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent all my emails to the perpetrators, the people who were mistreating this customer. They said, there's nothing for us to do here. So I quit. And I went to work for Concordia University instead.
Okay. Okay. Hold up. Okay. We're gonna end it right here. So, and we're gonna keep talking, but we got to do a part two. So, for
Yeah.
the folks that are
Yeah.
listening, where can they reach you at? Where can you be found at?
KeithSconiers.com.
Okay.
They can
Okay.
also find me my handle is Keith Sconiers on Instagram. My handle is the same on LinkedIn. The same thing on Facebook.
Okay. All right. And we'll put that in the show notes. Man, you're dropping some bombs. So we're going to keep this going. Well, for the listeners out there, please check him out. And in between this Monday and the next Monday, we will have some other stuff out there for you to peep if you haven't peeped them. But go to his, oh my gosh, go to his LinkedIn. Check out his podcast. Keith, where can you find the podcast at? Is it still at keithsconiers.com?
Spotify. You can find it on KeithSconiers.com. You can also find it on any podcasting app. If you search my name and the word purpose, you can find it on the Spotify app or any other app that you use to listen to podcasts.
Well, Keith, this has been an amazing. I did not expect to go and start this purpose-driven marketing podcast like this, but I want to be respectful of everybody's time. You know how I like to keep it 20 minutes. We're going to drop some diamonds, definitely, if you want to
Oh, I
continue
didn't know
hearing.
that. I would have.
You good. You're good. You see, y'all, I be telling y'all, I don't be scripting nobody. I usually give people a time frame. But for you
My
out there,
bad.
you good.
They're like, who uncle is this?
Hey, with that, y'all, I wish you nothing but the best. So dream big and Godspeed.